Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for White Bear Studios event, The Clean Label Revolution. I can see people joining at different times now. You're kind of trickling in, so that's perfect. I'm Audrey Madden, the marketing lead at White Bear Studio, and I'll be your host tonight. As I give my spiel, please do feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box. It's always cool to see where people are calling in from. Now, before I introduce our incredible lineup of speakers, I'd like to give you a bit of a background on White Bear Studio. We are a creative branding agency in London, but with clients worldwide. Our common thread through all of our clients is a bravery to disrupt and grow. We are sector agnostic, but have deep experience in food and drink brands specifically. We work with challengers who think big and established brands who want to stay relevant. Over the past few months, we've been building a community of future unicorns for brands who are brave, creative, and disruptive with purpose. Whether you're a marketing leader at a startup with big growth plans, a brand manager of a challenger brand ready to steal market share, or a CMO keen to keep your brand relevant amidst all of this startup thinking. We've been seeing brands come together to support one another, and it's been a real joy to watch it grow. Our future unicorn community gets access to thought leadership content, weekly webinars with industry leaders, and the chance to brainstorm with other creative business leaders. Everyone here is more than welcome to join. We'll share the joining link over in the chat box if this does sound like a bit of you. And in conjunction with this community, we've also been offering exclusive one-to-one brand brainstorm sessions with our creative team to chat through your brand strategy, visual identity, and campaign calendar. They're 45-minute sessions, and they're currently free in the hopes of providing a bit of COVID relief. So you can find the link to apply for a brand brainstorm session in the chat box as well. Okay, well, with all of that out of the way, let's turn our focus to the real reason that we're all here. Today, we have 3 speakers and an hour and a half to cover the meaning of clean label, recent trends, and how to communicate your ingredients on pack and across brand comms. First, we will hear from Emma Cahill from Kerry Taste and Nutrition on what makes clean label meaningful. Next, we will hear from Kelly McKenzie, the creative director of White Bear Studio, on clean label design thinking. And lastly, we'll round off the evening hearing from Richard Turner at Umbar Chocolate, where he'll share Umbar's journey and how they choose to value their ingredients to keep their customer top of mind. If you do have any questions for our speakers, send them to the Q&A box, and we'll do our best to squeeze them in at the end of their talks. Now it would be my pleasure to officially get this thing started and introduce our first speaker, Emma Cahill. Emma leads marketing strategy for Kerry's global food protection business. She's been with Kerry for 3 years, working in Ireland and the US. And prior to Kerry, Emma has held roles promoting Irish food and beverage companies in France through Board Via, the Irish Food Board. Emma challenges herself to uncover new consumer insights and partners with her technical colleagues to translate these insights into the next innovation for the rapidly growing natural food protection area. Hi, Emma, welcome. Over to you. Here, I'm going to ask to unmute. There we go.
Can you hear me, Audrey?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So hi, everyone. As Audrey introduced me, my name is Emma Cahill, and I work for Kerry Taste and Nutrition. And I want to talk to you today about making clean label meaningful. So what I want to walk you through is what is clean label and what does it mean to your consumers? Because I get asked a lot, is a specific ingredient clean or dirty label? Does a claim magically make something clean label? So let's dig into that. So while I want to talk to you about how to bring clean label to life, the challenges that consumer clean label demands create for food producers, Kerry's 5R approach to cleaning up a label, and then I want to challenge you to think about what you mean when you talk about clean label. Do you actually mean consumer friendly? And then lastly, I want to talk you through how an ingredient supplier adds value to your brand, because Kerry is a B2B ingredient supplier, so we're a little further back from the consumer on the supply chain. So let's kick it off with a bit of understanding around what is clean label and what does it mean to your consumer. Clean label is a loosely defined term. There's no industry recognized or consistent definition. And that's the reason why we're constantly asking more questions about it. Where I sit in Kerry, I have the privilege to have access to a lot of market reports and third-party research. But when we find that the industry hasn't already answered our questions and the questions of our customer, we dig in and we do our own proprietary consumer research to follow. These are excerpts from research papers that we did in 2017 and 2019, surveying hundreds of consumers around the world, trying to understand what the top 5 claims are that consumers recognize as being clean label. And the specific claims aren't as important as what they infer. So we see that 100% natural is top of the charts in both places, meaning that things that appear natural and feel natural really resonate with consumers. Fortunately, natural isn't as regulated as some of the other claims and can be misleading. But we see that there is a move towards positives like made with real ingredients and organic, mixed in with negatives like no additives or preservatives and no added sugar. What is clean label? To the industry, it's premium, it's label claims, it's differentiating, it's expensive. To consumers, it's healthy, it's good for me, it's organic, it's also expensive. So here's an overview of some of the research papers that are available to our customers and to anyone in the industry. If you type these names in with Kerry online, you'll be able to put in your details and download them. So the first paper we did in 2017 was Beyond the Label, the Clean Label Food Revolution, and it focused on North America and Europe. In 2019, we decided to repeat this research, and we felt it had gone beyond the label. It was the future of food, more than clean label. It unlocked consumer expectations for food and beverages, and it was focused in North America. Because these Western structures for understanding clean label aren't easily translated into other markets, we did a specific piece of research in APMEA, which I believe is a Kerry term, which is Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa. And we wanted to understand what clean label meant in that region with country-specific reports, because it is a very wide-ranging geography. All of these white papers are available to download, but I want to take you through some of the highlights. So our initial paper in 2017 created a clean label framework to help us and our customers better understand what clean label meant to consumers and how it would help them to build trust with a brand. When a customer asks me to define clean label, because everybody is trying always to define it, I say it's that feeling when a customer picks up a packet, reads the ingredient declaration, looks at the nutritionals, looks at the packaging and where it came from, and chooses to accept or not accept that product, building trust with your brand. So there's no surprises that ingredients form a huge part of the clean label definition, with no villains being a strong call out. There's also the addition of positives, consumers wanting positive nutrition and food that's naturally healthy. Back in 2017, sustainability was only 20% of the conversation, with consumers looking at things like minimally processed, the origin and the source, whether it was locally grown, and then brand commitments towards sustainability. This represents a great point in time all the way back in 2017. Things were very different from where they are today. And then we created this research in 2019 to understand how the market was evolving. So you'll see some of those familiar clean label pillars, like nutrition, food that was inherently healthy, homemade, fresh, and wholesome. Sustainability was a much bigger part, with consumers caring about their food being good for all. Unprocessed, local, grass-fed, all of these claims were rising in popularity. Clean label has also evolved. Healthy food must taste good, must be healthy but delicious, and there are also consumers out there looking for adventurous tastes. Acceptable ingredients, always really important. Claims like natural, nothing artificial, no additives. And that's all about what's not on the label. But we can also add in functional ingredients that make foods feel like something especially for me. That can be low calorie, allergen free, added fiber. All of these things matter and influence consumer intentions around their foods. Now let's look at what came out of our research paper in APMEA. Food safety sets the tone for health and sustainability in APMEA. It's a very different environment. Everything happens within the context of food safety. Call-outs from consumers were, remember that I'm always worried about food safety, and they really appreciated the opportunity to discuss with us what clean label meant to them. The survey crossed consumers and customers. A key pillar in this region was health. It was about safeguarding consumer health, especially from ingredients that they're discovering might be bad for them. And also the environment. This is slightly different than sustainability as it comes out in a pillar in the other research. It was about reassuring consumers that their food comes from environments that are good for them, for their family, and then also perhaps their community. Where sustainability in our American and European papers was mostly around community and the environment. In the APMEA region, there was reassurance about where the food comes from just being good for them, the consumer. APMEA being such a broad region, I wanted to highlight this data point because it paints a really interesting picture of why it's so important to understand the consumer in the region and in the country. So this question was to understand the percentage of consumers in each country that trust local provenance as a top sign of food safety. I know myself, based in Europe and now in North America, local provenance helps me to build trust. But if we look at an APMEA average statistic of 16%, that seems really, really low. And I could take that and run with it and take it as my statistic that helps me understand what matters in APMEA. But if we dig a little deeper to understand how this varies by country, we see that the picture is very different in countries like Japan and Australia, where 43% or 38% of consumers really see it as a positive sign, helping them build trust in a brand. But then if we look at the bottom of the scale, there's places like China and Vietnam and Thailand where it's 3% and 6%. So this is where our consumer research really adds value to our customers' understanding of what clean label means to their consumers. Looking again at some more holistic global data points about what is getting more and more important to consumers, consumers really care about food that's natural, that's not artificial, that's authentic, that's transparent, that creates less food waste, and is ethical. Mintel tells us that 70% of meat and poultry consumers want products with no artificial ingredients. That's a global figure, and it's absolutely staggering. Innova shows us that no added preservatives is by far the top claim in new product launches in the past 5 years all around the world. 3/4 of the consumers surveyed by Kerry Compass in Europe indicated that they were willing to pay more for food with a cleaner label. And then when we think about sustainability and what that means to the industry, $940 billion is lost globally each year due to between a third and a half of all food produced going to waste. And this is why sustainability is becoming more and more important as a message and a consumer priority when it comes to building trust and intentions with food. Why is that? So we see that 5.6 times faster growth from products branded as sustainable in the last 5 years. That's because global food waste is the third largest contributor of greenhouse gas emissions. 67% of consumers surveyed by FMCG gurus during the COVID-19 pandemic are actively looking to reduce their food waste as a way of making their money go further. It's part of the recessionary mindset that we're all suffering through at the moment. When we look at predicted population growth, it's supposed to reach 9.6 billion by 2050, and our planet does not have the resources needed to sustain our current lifestyles. So sustainability is becoming a more and more important part of the message. And a lot of what I do in food protection and fermentation is helping to reduce food waste and helping our customers to communicate that as part of their clean label message. Food appearance is a huge factor in consumer rejection. So there's a huge education opportunity to help reduce the epidemic of food waste. Climate change is the #1 consumer concern globally. And 45% of European customers claim that their choice of food is influenced by whether it is ethically produced and sustainably sourced. Okay, so how do we bring clean label to life? So Kerry Taste and Nutrition is a business-to-business supplier. So my role is a little different to Richard's, who you'll hear from later. We work with food producers who are creating consumer packaged goods. We also work with some of your favorite food service restaurants to help them create wonderful menu items. My role focuses on food protection around the world. And in terms of clean label, this looks like enabling our customers to create products with no added preservatives. I work with microbiologists and culinary experts who bring to life great tasting food and beverages for our customers. We've all heard about the consumer desire for no additives and preservatives. How do we bring this to life? We have 150 years of experience in doing this, and we bring a portfolio of ingredients that we can customize to help make it work in application in your product, because food protection in beverage is very different than in meat, than in breads. We bring authenticity to the table, which I'll get into in more detail later. We're a taste and nutrition company. We understand that taste matters, so we bring that as well. We care about food waste reduction. And then in the food protection space, a regional understanding of legislation is really important because this varies so much region to region that we can help our customers adapt their approach to the right regulatory environment. So we've heard all about consumer desires, how they're changing, how they vary around the world. Let's talk a little bit about the challenge that creates for food producers. Consumer demands, they may create complex production challenges. Consumers want it all. They want no added preservatives, no artificial ingredients, but they want a convenient shelf life and easy storage. They want all natural, transparency, reduced food waste, but they want it to be affordable and sustainable at the same time. While food producers are trying to differentiate, maintain quality, meet legislation, trying to innovate, they're worried about food safety over shelf life too. They're trying to have increased yield efficiencies and they're worried about sustainability. So we work closely with our customers to balance these consumer needs. I mentioned earlier that Kerry has an approach to partnering with customers called the 5 Ors. And this is how we select the right approach to clean label. So the first 3 are about working with our broad portfolio of ingredients. We can replace and remove specific ingredients that consumers might find unacceptable. This is about helping to clean up a label, remove an artificial preservative, replace an ingredient with a natural alternative. We can also reduce ingredients. This is usually around nutritionals, reducing things like sodium and salt and sugar content. And we understand the impact that that can have on product taste, texture, and shelf life. So we may have to leverage other ingredients in our portfolio to make your products at their best. We also have a lot of knowledge that we share with our customers. We understand how to work with marketing, regulatory, and nutritionists to reposition and reinvent products so that they can win in the market. Now I want to challenge you. When you talk about clean label, what do you really mean? Do you mean clean label? Or do you mean consumer friendly? Cleaning up a label is one thing. Consumers often have conflicting desires, and having ingredient declarations that are easy to understand with positive claims is definitely all about what clean label means. But consumers want more. They want better nutrition, they want reduced waste, they want sustainability, and they want food safety. If we look simply at clean label, it's about picking up that ingredient, looking at that label, seeing something that's familiar and that's recognizable and that's acceptable. But there's more to it. There is a phenomenon in the ingredients world known as adulteration. Essentially, there are companies out there who supply ingredients who are not what they say they are. They could be a cheaper or synthetic product that is being sold as a premium all natural product. The most widely known consumer example that I can think of to explain this is the horse meat scandal. You pick up your product, it's labeled as beef. That's acceptable, that's clean label, you trust it, you want it. But somebody somewhere made a decision to label something that wasn't beef as beef and was horse meat. And it was a huge scandal in the industry and everybody felt duped. And that certainly doesn't build trust with consumers. So I've been campaigning when I talk to customers who want me to help them define clean label, that it actually means consumer friendly. It's taking all that information that you have about your consumers, their desires and their needs and the environment that they live in, and this particular challenges that they might face in that region around food safety, and bringing that to life with decisions that holistically benefit consumers. So that's why we talk about more than just ingredients and cleaning up labels, but better nutrition, reduced waste, sustainability, food safety, ease and safety within the supply chain, and economics. So Kerry is an ingredient supplier, and I want to talk to you about how I might add value to a brand. If you think about what my role is in the final product, it could be making an ingredient disappear off the ingredient declaration or adding in a natural alternative. Here is a great example of how we brought that to life. If you imagine the role of that ingredient is it might be about reducing mold. You might be talking to a microbiologist. How does that translate into adding value to the final brand? We partner with creative minds, people like Whitebear who are hosting this webinar tonight, and we talk through how we bring those benefits to life. So this is about one of our products that is a naturally derived shelf life solution for baked goods. It replaces a synthetic preservative that's made from the petrochemical industry. So essentially, we're taking something nasty off the label. This product is made from fermented wheat flour, sourdough, you might know it by different names, that is naturally found on that product label. So how do we bring to life the value that we bring to that brand? So you saw earlier in the clean label research, no artificial preservatives is a very common, popular claim that consumers associate with clean label. So that ingredient is facilitating a no artificial preservatives claim in some regions. And then we dig a little deeper. Because we have that organic acid in the bread, we can have a higher water activity level, which means that you can have a softer, fluffier bread. That brings that to life for the consumer and adds value, adds a premium, and allows our customer to differentiate and stand out on shelf. Other examples where consumer friendly is about something different than just removing an ingredient from a label is our Kombucha product. It's a crafted kombucha beverage designed for food service, and it was about simplifying the supply chain and adding in consumer benefits. Some of you may like kombucha, some may not, but it's exploding around the world. Some people like to make it at home. Others have a favorite brand in a bottle that they buy from a refrigerated case in the supermarket. Others, back in different times, were able to go and enjoy it at their local cafe or their local bar. A lot of our customers are looking for an entry into this explosive market. Making kombucha well requires a lot of fermentation expertise. That's a lot of investment, a lot of knowledge. And then when it goes wrong, you can have microbial outgrowth. You can have alcohol levels that are higher than intended. You can have inconsistent taste and quality. So we took on the challenge of trying to make a better, more accessible kombucha. So we wanted it to consistently taste better and be convenient for food service customers and for consumers. So we took our fermentation expertise, and with that, we could make a consistent product that tasted good. But we wanted to make it more sustainable and easier to work with. So we used some process technology to dry it into crystal format so that it could be ambient shipped around the world, has a longer shelf life, reduced waste, greater safety. In addition to this, kombucha customers are drinking it usually for health benefits before they've picked it up for taste. And there's actually very little nutrition science research into the health benefits of kombucha. The inferred benefits and those healthy halos come from the presence of live cultures as part of the fermentation. And many people believe it has probiotic benefits. But the definition of a probiotic is live cultures in a sufficient quantity to confer a proven health benefit. So we can't tell, depending on who made the kombucha, what strain is in there, if those confer health benefits, unless we use a known strain that is well researched. So we added in our Ganadin BC30 probiotics so that we're taking those healthy halos and we're matching them with a science-backed ingredient. All in all, for me in this instance, this wasn't about cleaning up a label. It was about being consumer friendly, adding value, better nutrition. We lower the sugar, we increase the shelf life, and it even aligns to Kombucha Brewers International's proposed standards for kombucha. This is truly real kombucha, but in a just much better and easier to work with format around the world. So as a B2B ingredient supplier, where we add value really is by understanding what's important to our customers, and we remove pain points and help them win with their consumers. We have an integrated partner approach when we work with our customers. So you guys get to benefit from our unique research capabilities, legislation understanding, sensory and analytical expertise, the fact that we produce our raw materials and can be transparent and authentic. We help with cost management, taste and nutrition. We help with clean label, and we help with food freshness. And here's another great example of how we explained an innovation that had customer pain points in mind. Essentially, we took two antimicrobial ingredients and we co-crystallized them as a food safety transparency step for sliced ham in North America. This is working with some of the smartest microbiologists in the world. How do I explain that value to my customer? So essentially, we walked them through the steps. Instead of having 2 ingredients delivered, they had 1. Instead of having to figure out what ratio to add these really important food safety ingredients, it was already done for them. They were co-crystallized into one, so it was easy to use. They just had to measure it, pour it in. It was more stable over its shelf life. Getting into food safety legislation is not glamorous or easy to explain, but because these were co-crystallized at exactly the right ratio, we were able to prove that if the ingredient had been added, that the other half was there also. So the huge point of food safety is for getting one food safety ingredient in the food chain. We were able to give full transparency and accountability. We can even add these food safety ingredients into natural seasoning blends. So they're easy to add correctly to the food, taking 2 steps out of that production process, saving our customers money and making life easier for them, removing those pain points. And because the ingredients are co-crystallized together, getting really technical now, we didn't need carriers, things like maltodextrin. So the end result is a cleaner label. But all in all, if you look at every step that has gone into making this process, it's more about consumer friendly than clean label. We're making safer food, we're saving costs, we're making life easier for our customers, and we're delivering a better end product, in this case, deli meat in North America, to the end consumer with a cleaner label. Thank you very much. Hand it back to Audrey for some questions.
Thank you so much, Emma. I don't think we could have asked for a better person to kick this event off, so it was just perfect. It's really great to hear from someone that's just really driving change in the ingredient supplier space. So thank you.